And we want to take you live to North Carolina now, where Governor Roy Cooper is giving an update.
He is in Boone, North Carolina, where he's been taking a look at the aftermath there. Let's go ahead and listen in.
The nature of the storm is astounding. So many communities have been hurt. There are some positives. We have 31 aircraft that are helping with continued search and rescue, as well as surging commodities into all parts of western North Carolina. We're in constant contact with the utilities. They have told us that progress is being made. I had several people told me that their power had just come back on, and I think that there is hope that 90% of the power could be back as early as tomorrow, but I'm going to let them say that. That's something that I've heard a little earlier. We're continuing to work to open arteries into this area to provide for supplies, rescue teams. We're in contact with all of our hospitals and medical facilities and rest homes, working to make sure that they have oxygen and military other medical supplies that they need. This is a team effort. I want to say too, we're grateful for all of our volunteer organizations and people of faith that have been coordinated to work throughout western North Carolina. There was ever a time that we needed you, it is now. But we know that the people of western North Carolina are resilient. This is going to be a strong short-term response and a strong long-term recovery. We've got folks here to answer questions. We've got Mayor Futrell, who here of Boone, Representative Ray Pickett, who represents this area. I have our Secretary of Department of Public Safety and our Secretary of Department of Health and Human Service, FEMA representatives here as well. And so now I'll take questions from people.
We're going to start right here with the Watauga Democrat.
Yeah,
Governor
thanks, sir.
Mossburn with Watauga Democrat. What's your message to those people that have just lost everything, especially in the western part of our county? You know, Sugar Grove, Meat Camp, and all those areas.
You know, to be able to wake up one morning and everything that you own be gone is a tragic situation. This is an unprecedented situation that is going to require an unprecedented response. We are working to turn on every avenue of resources that we can to help people. The first thing we want them to do is to apply with FEMA for disaster services. You can go to disasterassistance.gov or download the FEMA app. Robert has the 800 number that people can call. We've already had over 50,000 people to register for FEMA assistance, and about $6 million has already gone out. So we want to help people in that way in the short term, but there are also longer term solutions for people who have lost their homes, and we want to be there for them.
Next question, Appalachian, right here.
Hi, Steve Patterson from Appalachian. How do you hope that the North Carolina legislature will support areas of higher education as they support their community and for students who have been displaced through their buildings and houses being condemned?
So we're grateful for our universities out here in western North Carolina who have stepped up. Appalachian State is now hosting a shelter right in its Coliseum, helping people in need in the community. I've talked with university leaders who are working hard to make sure that the students who are still on campus are safe and protected, and we will work with them to help them individually with their families. We know that we have the best array of public and private universities in the country, and many of them are right here in western North Carolina. We want them to be able to continue their mission as soon as possible and to get them back up and running as soon as possible.
Next question right here.
Hi, Alistair with WCNC Charlotte. We've been in the mountains for about 5 days, going to Avery and Ashe County. We've seen the devastation ourselves, and residents there say it feels like the governor and as well as the administration has forgotten about those counties. What do you respond with when you hear those?
Well, I was there today, and we have had crews there from the beginning. We have surged hundreds of thousands of pounds of food and water into these communities, and we have teams on the ground who are providing search and rescue teams. We're working with FEMA jointly. There is a lot that is happening. There are a lot of communities that are isolated that we're working to get to with local officials. We want to be there. If you need help, if you've got people that you've talked to that need help, let me know who they are, and we will get help to them immediately.
And yesterday in Ashe County, the State Department of Insurance was already on the ground also talking to people, trying to assess the damage. When it comes to that, flooding sometimes is not covered with insurance. So is there any state policy that we can maybe enact for emergency when it comes to that?
So I think that there will be a comprehensive effort to deal with the flooding disaster that is here, because you really don't see many private insurance policies covering flooding. We know that's going to be a special effort, both at the federal level and at the state level. I know Representative Pickett's here, and I know that they will step up to try to fill in some of the gaps that the federal government doesn't have.
Next question to CCB.
Governor Cooper, Casey Jones from WCCB, thank you. My question is about the infrastructure. When it comes to roads and bridges, what have you observed around the state, and what's happening to get all of that back into working condition?
Complete devastation to the transportation infrastructure and a lot of our water infrastructure here in North Carolina, in Western North Carolina. We are concentrating first on the primary arteries that can help us get supplies, repair crews, medical assistance through. So, for example, we're working with hospitals, utility crews, cell phone crews. Where are you having trouble getting to? And our Department of Transportation is going and trying to help to clear away or to make temporary repairs and to find routes into communities that are very difficult to get to. So that's the short term. The long term is it's going to take billions of dollars to make sure that we bring this transportation back up where it needs to be. But we need to take this time to make sure that when we rebuild Western North Carolina, and we will, that it's done in a more resilient way. People had never seen this kind of destruction and raging water before. Now we know that it can do this. So as we rebuild, we have to think that this can happen, so we have to make the investment, which is going to be more, but make the investment to make it more resilient.
Wait, one more follow-up. In Watauga County, we know that at least 2 people have died in landslides. Do we have a handle on statewide how many people have died in this storm?
So the official count right now is 60 people in North Carolina, but we know that number will go higher.
Spectrum. We talked about the progress you're making on I-26 and reps from North Carolina into Tennessee.
So that I-40 is our biggest problem right now into Tennessee, and that is closed, and that is one of our biggest challenges right now, because we know that fix is going to be a significant expense, and we're working to determine what kind of investment it's going to take. Right now, the Department of Transportation is working to install temporary help to make sure we save the part of the highway that we still have that hasn't fallen away. So that's going to be significant. I think Highway 26 is open all the way through, or you tell me.
Yes, sir.
This is the chair of our State Board of Transportation, Mike Fox.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Governor. Yes, I-26 is open in North Carolina. Unfortunately, it's still closed in Tennessee, so you can only go so far. But we are working hard to get every major road open so we can get to the secondary roads and help people, as the governor said.
WXLB.
I spoke to the Attorney General earlier this week in Winston-Salem, who said that it's too early to tell as far as relief efforts. That was Monday. You say that anything has changed as far as long-term goals of rebuilding the state?
So relief efforts are occurring right now in all areas of Western North Carolina. We know that this is going to have to be a sustained, long-term assistance, because we think a lot of these water systems, it's going to take a while for them to come back up. I think in certain areas of the state, it's going to take a while to get the power back up. And so we know people are going to need assistance for a long time. So we are here for the long haul. I talked to the president yesterday. FEMA's going to be here as long as we need them. Our state resources, our National Guard is here. We've got over 1,000 troops that have been activated. We've got 32 aircraft going in and out, bringing supplies every day to people who need it. So how long it will take, the long-term recovery will take a significant period of time, but we need to make sure that we respond and recover and then begin the process of rebuilding.
Thanks, y'all. That's the time we've got today. Do you have another question? Do you have one?
Just for FEMA.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet we all want to hear this. Obviously, FEMA is now boots on the ground, trying to get to every county. That being said, what are the next steps? It's early on. The storm just happened, but what is the first thing that we need to see boots on the ground when it comes to FEMA and response?
Yeah, so we've been on the ground as well since day one, supporting the state, and we've got people actually in just about every county as it stands now, supporting the state side by side. We've got over 500 people working right now in the state of North Carolina. The only thing I was going to add, the governor had mentioned the 800 number for people to register. That's 1-800-621-FEMA, 1-800-621-FEMA, disasterassistance.gov, or download the FEMA app.
One more question for you, FEMA. This year has been a lot when it comes to natural disasters. How did this hurricane impact your response that was already exhausted?
Well, I would say that we were postured as soon as we saw, even before Helene became a named storm. I'm actually the regional administrator for the Southeast. We staged a lot of resources, generators, urban search and rescue teams, truckloads and truckloads of commodities, water, so that we were postured well for the entire Southeast. So I really feel like we were postured for this storm, and the state of North Carolina, we were right there with them from the very beginning.
All right, thanks. We got to run.
I'm Robert Samaan, S-A-M-A-A-N.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we're just talking to you guys about.
Thank you.
We have been listening to an update from North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper and North Carolina state officials as they have been touring Boone, the home of Appalachian State. The governor saying that a shelter is open there at Appalachian State on the campus. Also saying that they're continuing to work to open more ways into the area to get more resources in, but adding that I-26 in North Carolina is now open in North Carolina. However, it does remain closed in Tennessee.
And Governor Cooper said the primary roads that they're focused on are those main roads that get to places like hospitals. They said they're communicating with hospitals in the area and saying, okay, what areas can you not get to, and making sure that places like hospitals have a clear path to get to homes and to get to places who are in need. He also said that right now, again, they're looking to find different routes for those hard to reach places, those places right now that are isolated. He said I-40 to Tennessee remains their biggest problem, and he said that's going to take time and billions of dollars. But Governor Cooper said, of course, this is an unprecedented situation and it will require an unprecedented response.
We do also know that officials with FEMA are, of course, there in Western North Carolina, and Governor Cooper providing this update saying already over 50,000 people in the state have registered for FEMA assistance, and around $6 million has already gone out. Not just in North Carolina, but folks in South Carolina and Georgia who are impacted are also encouraged to apply for FEMA assistance, and you can find information on how to do that on WYFF4.com.
And he says so far, as far as the response, they have more than 30 aircraft that are continuing to help not only with search and rescue, but to bring much needed supplies into that area as we continue to try to recover from this utter devastation. We do want to show you this QR code. You can donate to the American Red Cross just by scanning this QR code on your screen. It's incredible to see how we're coming together to help our communities in need. But for now, we're going to send you back to your regularly scheduled programming.